Hello and welcome to Cricket Happenings, dear friends and subscribers. On this part of the Cricket Happenings show, I'm going to talk about the 4 days play in the final Test match between India and England, where I have to say it was day three actually. On day three, India were left in an absolute daze as England piled on the agony for India, and they went on to have a huge target with Alistair Cook in his final swan song Test match, scoring his 33rd Test ton and becoming only the fifth player in the annals of Test history to have scored a century on debut and also in the last Test. The others being, just for some statistics, I would like to tell, there were some former players of the yesteryear players, a turn to start off their career and a turn to finish off their career, and there are only 5 players who have done that, as Alistair Cook became the fifth player in history to have scored a century in the first and final Test, as he joined Bill Ponsford of Australia, Reggie Duff, Greg Chappell of Australia, Mohammad Azharuddin of India, and these are the players who have done it. And also there was a landmark for James Anderson as well, as he equaled the record of the most prolific pace bowler in Test cricket, and I'm talking about none other than the great Glenn McGrath of Australia, who did that, as you would remember. Glenn McGrath of Australia, 563 wickets, and now Anderson is level and is just 1 wicket away from getting into a great record. So that is something. But as I said, the Indians were left in a total daze today, as the England batsman Alistair Cook went on to his 33rd Test, only Joe Root went on to make a ton, and the England really spoiled all the hopes. In fact, they started off by really tormenting the Indian bowlers, and as they declared at 423 for 8, thus setting India a target of 464 for victory in one day. And let me tell you, after all the batting was done, they added insult to injury for India, as India were reduced to 58 for 3 at close of play, requiring another 406 runs on the morrow with 7 wickets remaining. And one can safely say that this is going to be Alistair Cook's Test match, and I think India should be ready to get a 4-1 drubbing now, because it's highly unlikely that India will be able to save this match, and especially considering that the Indian captain Virat Kohli was out for a golden duck. But one record stayed, and that is James Anderson could not take Kohli's wicket throughout the entire series. So one can say it is a psychological victory for the Indian captain Virat Kohli. So I'll be talking about that. This was just a sort of a snippet that I gave you, and then we'll have a look at, if time permitting, we'll have a look at the India A reply, which was a very strong reply against Australia A, and also the Caribbean Premier League, where the Guyana Amazon Warriors players Shimron Hetmeyer and Shane Rutherford absolutely rammed the Trinbago Knight Riders bowlers for sixes aplenty, as they blasted 79 runs of 4 overs to go number 2 in the standings in the Caribbean Premier League 2018. So first, let's talk in detail about what happened. So England resumed their innings on their overnight score with Alistair Cook on 46 and Joe Root, and now Alistair Cook reached his 50 pretty quickly in the morning, but after that it was a sort of what you call India. Alistair Cook grinded his way away. He was not in any hurry. He probably was determined that he wanted to make a century. At the other end, Joe Root was also playing brilliantly, and both were really chiseling together a very big partnership at that. And look at the partnership they had. They took the score from 62 for 2 to 321 to keep the Indians totally frustrated. So basically, if you look at it, it's almost like if you look at it, it's almost like 269 runs partnership, which was a massive partnership, and it ended up with Alistair Cook, as I said, getting on to his 33rd test ton in the final test of his career, making 147 with 14 boundaries. Joe Root, on the other hand, was confidence personified with a knock of 125 with 12 fours and 1 6, and one knows what a big prize Joe Root has on his wicket. It's very difficult to dislodge Joe Root, and definitely Alistair Cook, when he went to his 33rd test century, it was courtesy of an overthrow, but definitely Joe Root, the current captain, showed his pleasure, or showed his respect to Alistair Cook by doffing his hat as soon as Alistair Cook got his century, as Alistair Cook was his previous captain. And really, this stand, as I said, totally frustrated India, and one feels that all the hard work that the Indians did on the first day was totally gone. One can definitely forget what happened on the first day, as England rode on to a mighty total of 423 for 8 declared. So Joe Root was 125 with 12 fours and 1 6. Jonathan Bairstow made 18 runs with 3 boundaries. He was clean bowled by Mohammad Shami. Ben Stokes was a victim of the bowling of Jadeja for 37 with 5 fours and 1 6. Butler, very luckily for India, left without troubling the scorers. He was out for naught. And then Sam Curran made 21 of 30, Dalvis 1 4 and 1 6, and Adil Rashid was not out on 20. But let me tell you that Hanuma Vihari, the part-time right-arm off-spinner, the debutant, picked up 3 wickets today. He picked up the wicket of Alistair Cook. So let's see what he did. Hanuma Vihari already had a debut 50, as we know, and Vihari was on a hat-trick. So you could just imagine that. So let me just go through what really happened. So let's have a look at Joe Root. So this was the first test wicket for Hanuma Vihari. Root was definitely, one could say that it was all thanks in the main to England actually looking out for quick runs, which was understandable. And he wanted to slog sweep Vihari, and the ball actually pitched on the rough, and it flew to deep mid wicket, and where Pandya actually took the catch. So Joe Root was out for 125, and then the second wicket he took was of Alistair Cook. Now, could you believe it? He has first taken the first centurion, Joe Root. Now he went on to take the wicket on Alistair Cook on his favourite shot, and which is his cut shot. He tried to cut the ball. The ball skidded in and hit the edge of Cook's bat and nicely nestled into Pant's hands behind the wickets. And there was a huge applause as Cook walked back. The Indian players, Virat Kohli and company, showed a good gesture by clapping him and patting him on the back, shaking hands with him. And what a player! England will never see a player of Alistair Cook's caliber once again, because he really was definitely, I wouldn't say he was a great attraction, but he was a perfect test player, as he waved his hand and he walked back, as he walked in a royal manner, as Alistair Cook was his wicket was taken by Vihari, and Vihari getting his second test wicket. And can you believe it? He was on a hat-trick. He could not get the hat-trick, but he managed to get 3 wickets for himself, as he dismissed the got the important wicket of Sam Curran, who tried to slog him to the leg side, and Pant actually with the gloves took a good catch, and there came the declaration from the captain. The declaration came 423 for 8 declared. Jonathan Bairstow failed with the bat, making only 18 runs. Stokes made 37. So 423 for 8 meant that India was set a target of 464 runs for victory. The bowling, well, Hanuma Vihari on his test debut, 9.3 overs, 1 maiden, 37 runs and 3 wickets, has already made his presence felt in his very first test match of his career. 47 overs, 3 maidens, 179 runs and 3 wickets for Jadeja. Also had a very good game. Shami 2 for 110. Now, and also let's have a look at Bairstow, who again failed to the bat. Was clean bowled by Mohammad Shami. He was an outswinger, but probably played for the outswinger. But the ball actually took the inside edge and went on to hit the stumps as far as Bairstow was concerned, just for the information. So 423 for 8. Now 464 was set for India, and what happened to India was something which would have left India in an absolute daze. As I said, there was insult was added to injury after the batting from Cook and Joe Root. Now insult to injury as India started their innings. So India started their innings. They were very, very sedate. They were very, very watchful. They were very cautious. One could understand they were just playing for stumps at the time. And the first wicket to go was Shikhar Dhawan. LBW bowled Anderson. Now this was Anderson coming round the wicket, and he put Dhawan in a real tangle there as he played around the front pad, and he was plumb in front, and that was the wicket number 1. Dhawan was sent to the pavilion. LBW bowled Anderson for 1. So the score read 1 for 1 as Cheteshwar Pujara walked in. Cheteshwar Pujara faced just 3 deliveries, and in the same over there was a big wicket. Not only about a big wicket, but a record wicket there as Cheteshwar Pujara was gone plumb LBW to James Anderson as Pujara put his front foot forward, but it was and he wanted to review, but unfortunately could not, and it was all over. James Anderson was dancing. James Anderson was leaving a victory roar, and why not? He had equaled the former great bowler from Australia, Glenn McGrath, 563 test wickets, and as you know, Glenn McGrath is the one who holds the record for the most wickets by a fast bowler in test cricket, and James Anderson was cock-a-hoop, and why not? There was a great celebration as the score, India were 1 for 2. In walked in Virat Kohli, and as you know, that was the last ball of James Anderson, and now Virat Kohli walked in. So Virat Kohli took strike to the ball from, in fact, Ajinkya, it was KL Rahul at the other end who took strike. He took a single. Virat Kohli came on strike, and look at what happened. Now this is something that one would have never even expected. Kohli was out for a golden duck, the very first delivery he received, and let me tell you, the ball was outside the off stump from Stuart Broad, and Kohli dangled his bat outside the off stump, and he was actually he did not play a full shot. He tried to defend the delivery. It was outside the off stump. He tried to defend the delivery, and India were in absolutely in all sorts of trouble as Kohli was dismissed for a golden duck. Caught Bairstow bowled broad for naught, and there was a sort of big sound in the stadium. There was a great noise from the spectators, and why not? They knew that this man is someone, he's a big thorn for England. And well, Virat Kohli walking for a golden duck was never a scene which would have been enacted before in Test cricket, according to me. So the score read, India were in all sorts of trouble. The innings were in tatters at 2 for 3, and after that it was India. It was only due to KL Rahul who decided to who decided that the only way to get away the England bowlers was to go on an all-out attack against them, which he did, and he was successful as well, as he had an unbeaten 46 to his name. Typically played one-day cricket there, as he had 8 fours in that knock of 46. Ajinkya Rahane was more of a partner who was just trying to give all the strike to Rahul, and Ajinkya Rahane was not out on 10, as India closed the day at 58 for 3, an eventful day here on the 4th day at the Oval. 2 for 3, and finally 56 runs unbeaten partnership saved the day for India, and now they have another 406 runs required on the morrow, and tomorrow is the final day. There is a rough in the pitch as well, so I think I can safely say here, and with Virat Kohli gone, one definitely feels that it's all over for India. So this is something that India won't be happy about. They are going to end up with England are going to end up end up with a 4-1 verdict here for sure. I think the writing was on the wall. But one thing that will make England very happy is that they have given a real send-off for Alistair Cook in that manner. Anderson 2 for 23 was full of fire. Broad 1 for 17, getting that vital wicket of Virat Kohli. Moeen Ali none for 8. Sam Curran 2 overs unbeaten 1 run, and Ben Stokes 2 overs unbeaten none for 8. So that is as far as so. It was an eventful day here at the Oval, and as I say, the writings on the wall. It's really going to take a sort of something, an extraordinary effort for India. The only thing that India can do is they can try to draw the game, but to try to draw the game, they definitely have Rahane who can play there, but other than that, they have only the debutant Pant coming in, so there are a lot of Jadeja might be one person, but looking at what's happened, I think it's all curtains for India as far as the final test is concerned. England probably are going to have a 4-1 victory in this test series, and that has really is not something that India would have expected as to what happened today. Well, so credit to England for whatever they did. They took the complete honors on this particular day. Now, the next thing, as I'm going to just sort of breeze through it, we are talking about the Australia. Before that, I'm going to talk about one exciting match before I come to the India-Australia match, because I want to make sure that I cover this, because the 30th match of the Caribbean Premier League. The match was between Trinbago Knight Riders and Guyana Amazon Warriors. I'm only going to go into the details where 79 runs was scored in 4 overs by Shimron Hetmeyer and Hetmeyer Rutherford. That was something, some hard hitting. Trinbago Knight Riders 154 for 7. Guyana Amazon Warriors had to win the game. I think in 14 point, they had to win the game in probably under 15 overs or 16 overs, and they absolutely rammed the Trinbago Knight Riders bowlers, especially S. Rutherford, not out on 45 of 13 deliveries, which included 6 sixes and 1 4, and Shimron Hetmeyer, the ever so talented Hetmeyer, made 59 of 30. 5 sixes and 3 4 sixes just rained in that 4 overs. The last 4 overs, I mean, they had to make sure that they had to complete the target in 15 overs, I reckon, and they did it in 14.1 overs. This was brilliant batting, I thought, and the bowlers were given a sort of a real bashing, one could say. Bravo was the one who suffered the most. His 13 deliveries disappeared for 40 runs. Cooper 2 overs for 25, Nikita Miller 2 overs 25. They heaved sixes at absolute will, and saw to it that the Guyana Amazon Warriors ended on the second rung of the table of the Caribbean Premier League. And Sherfin Rutherford was the man of the match for his, what could I say, he pillaged 45, 13 deliveries, 6 fours and 1 6. And just on a very brief note here, India A, today in reply to Australia A's knock, India A made 505. There was a century for the very, very talented wicketkeeper batsman, of whom lot has been talked about, K.S. Bharat, 106 with 12 fours and 1 6. And other than that, they had 52 coming in from Kuldeep Yadav, which is good to see. And 505 out, they took a good lead in that. And then the Australia A were left struggling at 38 for 2 at close of play with Travis and Hanscom in the middle. Well, dear fans, I don't have much time to really dwell on. It's about time for me to pull the curtain down on this daily cricket show of today. But promising you, there'll be my next cricket broadcast will be up tomorrow. Until then, it's good night.